Hey guys, what's up again? It's Dan from cryptocamacho.com. Hey guys, I've been thinking about something recently, and I wanted to just kind of throw it out there, get your take on this. And I do want to talk about the market, but I also want to kind of just make a quick video on just something I've been thinking about, right? So we keep referring to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, other altcoins. We keep referring to those cryptocurrencies' value in terms of dollars or euros or in some other fiat currency, right? So we often say, I have, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, or I have $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, or I have 1,000 euros worth of Bitcoin, or whatever, right? And we measure the value of Bitcoin or the value of Bitcoin based against a fiat currency today, right? The value of the dollar, the value of the euro, and so forth. But in the future, what's going to happen as these currencies kind of devalue, right? As the euro devalues, as the dollar devalues. If the dollar were to collapse now, and a dollar today has so much purchasing power, you can go to the store, you can buy, for a dollar, you can maybe buy some milk, you can maybe buy bread, you can maybe buy some candy. Can't buy too much with a dollar, right? But you can buy some things with a dollar. Let's say if the dollar crashed and the actual value of the dollar went down, let's say 50%, to where tomorrow you go into the store and a dollar, what does it buy you? It buys you really nothing. Maybe it buys you a candy bar or a pack of gum, but you can't even buy milk. You can't buy bread. You can't buy, the basics with it. Now, that's a scenario that could happen in the U.S. in the United States on the dollar, assuming that the market collapses, the dollar weakens and collapses, and over time it's predicted that this will happen, right? The U.S. economy has not been very strong, in the last, since 2008 and even before, it's been getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and we haven't really learned anything from the 2008 collapse, the housing bubble, and kind of the whole market, the U.S. market crashing down. The Federal Reserve really just propped up the dollar again with artificial interest rates, lowering interest rates again and artificially inflating that bubble again. That's the US dollar. So my question is in the future, let's assume that the dollar will devalue over time and it may even collapse and there may be hyperinflation against the dollar. Then how are we going to measure Bitcoin in cryptocurrencies, right? We won't be able to say, a dollar is worth, or $1,000 will buy you X Bitcoin. I mean, we will be able to say that, but think about this. Think about it kind of the other way around. In the future, Bitcoin will be the basis by which all other fiat currencies are actually calculated, right? So Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, whatever ends up being on the top, and I think that it'll be Bitcoin, ultimately, whatever cryptocurrency ends up on top will be really the standard or the basis by which any other fiat currencies are calculated. So the dollar, the euro, will actually be calculated from Bitcoin, right? So let's say today you had $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, right? See, there I go again. I do it again. But let's say I had $1,000 worth of Bitcoin today. Let's say that $1,000 today was equal to 0.25 Bitcoin, right? 0.25 BTC in your account. Let's say tomorrow there was hyperinflation and $1,000 dollar bills are now worth $5, right, in purchasing power. They don't buy as much. Well, I still have 0.25 Bitcoin. I still have a quarter of a Bitcoin because of the dollars that I bought it with yesterday. So Bitcoin's value is really going to be worth whatever it's worth in purchasing power. So whatever you can buy with Bitcoin in the future is what it's going to be worth. And all other currencies are going to be based around Bitcoin. It's really the true standard of calculation, the true standard of currency. There's a network of miners that, they mine Bitcoin across these huge, networks of computers. They demonstrate what's called proof of work to show that they've actually done something to create a Bitcoin, to create that value. They've done something. Today, they say it costs about $1,000 to actually to mine a Bitcoin. Well, that's their proof of work. That's them showing, look, we've used X amount of electricity, $1,000 worth of electricity to create this entity called a Bitcoin, right? And that can't be reversed. That's proof that somebody did put in effort, time, money, investments, to actually create that Bitcoin. So, as you're thinking about Bitcoin and as you're thinking about fiat currencies and how to invest in these things, just think that in years to come, and it may be sooner than many people think, but the standard of actually calculating the value of dollars, of euros, of any fiat currency is going to be really been really tethered to the price or value of Bitcoin. Think about all other fiat currencies today are pretty much tethered or hinged on the dollar today, right? Whatever happens to the dollar affects the world, the world economies. The value of the yuan, the value of the euro, the value of all other currencies really hinge on the dollar. Ultimately, that's going to all hinge on Bitcoin. All fiat currencies are going to hinge on Bitcoin in the value of Bitcoin. So anyway, think about this when you guys have a spare moment. I'm curious, if you guys think this will happen all at once, if you think this will be gradual, or if you think this is something that will happen, right away when maybe there's another crash or so forth. And when do you think this is going to happen? Do you think this is going to happen in a couple of years, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, 1 year? Like, when do you actually think this is going to happen? And, if the dollar does crash and goes down, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm not a doomsday kind of prepper or anything like that, but when the dollar does crash, and I do believe it will crash because of the bubbles that we've been creating over time, but when it does crash, most people are going to think, let me make a run on the banks, right? And I think it's better right now if you can somehow time, the crash or kind of have an idea of when the crash is going to come. It would be smart to get out of fiat currencies and to get into Bitcoin or other, cryptocurrencies that you find secure. Maybe even get into gold or, things like that. There are some cryptocurrencies now that actually are backed by gold. So it's like a gold blockchain that's being built, and you can actually convert your altcoin, whatever that altcoin is, into real gold, and it's all distributed based on the blockchain ledger that they've created. So pretty interesting stuff coming up. But anyway, I'm really curious your thoughts on this perspective. I'm curious, your thoughts on when the dollar does crash and when Bitcoin does become the standard of value in terms of currency. I really want to know what you think about that and how you think that will end up, or if you just think it's a whole lot of nonsense. I'd love to hear that too. Anyway, I'm Dan again from Crypto Camacho. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.